Hi, this is Jim, and this is Second Chance, a moped podcast. And welcome everybody to another week of Second Chance, a moped podcast. This holiday week's got me screwed up. I swear to God, today was Thursday, even though it was Wednesday, but I feel like tomorrow's Friday, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Yeah, I got, everybody can see by now, if you follow like me on Instagram or some of my uploads, I don't know where half of my photos go. They go to like one of three accounts. My shop updates are done. Super excited. Got my Fast Hobbit. Turns out my cases are broken. So like I probably good I don't ride that anymore this year. I on the ears near the support lower end of the support of the Hobbit cases, both ears are hairline fracture and not like the casting fracture, like broken. So I gotta decide if I want to tear that apart and just throw new cases, or if I just want to TIG weld that up and call it good. Maybe we'll see what happens. As I was getting ready for the show tonight, I see Treats is having their annual Thanksgiving sale, which means pretty much everybody else, Dose, Denny's, all those guys are going to be having their Black Friday sale. So don't forget to go into a tremendous amount of debt and support the fine folks that make us be mopeders. Hold on a second. Sippy sip of coffee. I'm really excited. Thanksgiving's rad, and it's gonna be 50 degrees on Saturday in Minnesota. So you damn right I'm gonna get out and ride my moped. So that's I'm I'm really excited to go ride mopeds. Chad Burke's Bill and Gather. I hope everybody checked out the preview show. I think it's gonna be a fun time. I'm excited. I'm excited just to go there, see people, hang out, help people work on their bikes. Like that's my main thing. I'm gonna be there to help people powder coat and weld because I can do both about average. Yeah. So my guest we have on here, I had seen him on the internet or on the YouTubes before I ever met him. Met him a few times at a rally here or there, and got to spend a little time with him. Mosquito Fleet. We both kind of thought about getting trial memberships at a YMCA. I mean, it was a magical time in Seattle. But I'll just have my guest introduce himself right now.
You're being very modest about that YMCA membership timeline.
Dude, I'm still. I've never seen a YMCA, an entire YMCA closed down for a child's birthday at 3 p.m. on a Saturday.
Somebody's got money. We'll get into that later, maybe. My name is Andrew Brown. I am a puddle cutter. I am formerly the captain of the cutters and am now the secretary / pencil pusher. I've been into mopeds since probably about 2014, and I now run my own mechanic shop and deal with everybody else's problems. And really excited to be here, actually.
Right on, Andrew. That's awesome. So we'll go through the spiel, here on Second Chance Moped Podcast. We go through people's moped journey, i.e., the very first time they ever saw a moped to like the smile ride, mill part, and what it's like today. So, Andrew, let me ask you this. What was the very first time you ever remember seeing a moped? Not necessarily getting on, but like your first concrete memory of, I can conceptually know that was a moped.
I actually have this answer loaded up, and I just sent you a photo on Instagram of the first moped I ever saw.
Awesome.
So I think that this is in DC in like 2014. I saw somebody on a V1 sort of chopper bike. They had a stainless steel tank on there, 5-star mags. They had like this old ass sort of like jammer type pipe on it, cafe racer style, and
hell yeah,
sneakers.
dude. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm just checking out this photo. It's that bike still holds up today. Like it's not too trendy either. Like that bike slaps.
Looks great. So
Yeah.
from that point, I was just like, oh shit, I got to get a moped, whatever this is. And so yeah, I got that moped, or I didn't get that moped. I saw that, and that was the inspiration. Then I started to get on Craigslist and searching for bikes. And as everybody does, I decided I wanted the top tank. And it was either a general 5-star for like $1,500 with a zebra print seat on it, or it was a Magnum MK that was way too expensive up in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I went with the Magnum, and it has been a just a downward trend ever since that time.
Right on. Was the Magnum running at least?
Yeah, the Magnum was running for I'm outing myself here. I spent $2,200 on it. Had no idea how much a moped was costing at that point, but it had all the go fast parts that you would think. You know, it had
Okay.
like the EBRs, it had the mags, it had a MLM side bleed,
Hmm.
the Gila kit, the TM24
So you came in hot.
flat side. I came in real hot, and I had zero understanding what the fuck I just got myself into.
Uh
Um, so yeah, that was the first bike.
And where were you living at this time? Because you said you saw it up in Seattle, you saw your first one, and you saw your first moped in DC. Where were you living at?
I've lived in Portland for like probably the last 12 or 13 years.
Okay.
I saw that DC bike on Reddit actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, I saw the Craigslist post all the way up in Seattle, drove up there like the same week,
Nice,
um,
dude.
and brought it down. I got like a rental truck, a zip
Hmm.
car truck, and uh convinced my uncle to go up there with me and bring that back down. So I've been living in Portland, sort of on Mesa, basically like the east side. But when I had gotten this, I lived downtown in like sort of the center of Portland in
Okay.
like a Section 8, like low income housing. And the challenge with that for me was that I didn't have like a garage or anything. And
Hmm.
so I thought it would be a good idea to just park it on the sidewalk or like on the street, you know, normal
Hmm.
parking. You get a little bike lock or something, and maybe a bike cover,
Yeah.
and that would be great. But I live next to a soccer stadium, and after like the first game, I realized, oh, this is a bad idea. And so I tried to upgrade a little bit by getting a parking pass at like public parking in a like one of those structures.
Hmm.
Like a month went by, somebody stole the carburetor. Somebody just ripped the sucker off.
Okay.
And then I'm like, okay, well, that's not good.
At
So then
least,
I
at
try
least
to,
you had the bike still, though. Like I'm just, I don't want to wreck your story. Like I'm
no,
envisioning
you're
the
good.
worst of the worst.
It was very frustrating to realize that, you know, somebody could just take shit off your bike because it's there.
Hmm.
You know, you got a Phillips head or some really good strength, you can just rip everything off of it. They also took my Leatherman that was in the saddlebag. That was what I was most upset about.
Okay.
So then I
They
was like,
probably used
okay,
the Leatherman to take your carburetor off. You realize
they
that?
very well could have, you
Yeah.
know. So I realized, you know, public parking isn't for me, and I started to take it up 4 floors into my apartment room. And the main entrance didn't like that, and so then I started parking it in a bicycle locker next to the spot that I live at. And yeah, so parking and storage was just madness
Yeah.
for the first couple of years.
And I want to give anybody who's ever hiked mopeds up flights of stairs because they lived in an apartment, you I don't want to threaten anybody or like try to reward people with a beer because I'll go broke at any moped rally because everybody will come up and say, Jim, I did that. I'll buy me a
Yep.
beer. I just want to give you like gold stars and a thumbs up and an attaboy because like that is awesome how dedicated people were for mopeds. Like I'd already bought my house, I already had a garage by the time I got
Mhm.
into mopeds, so like I wasn't huffing them up and down flights of stairs just to ride them. So like that dedication's awesome. I love it.
It's good balancing too, because you spend all your time pedaling to try and get the thing started, and you get to work your arms lifting it up the stairs.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, dude, I hear you. It's a great, you could sell gym memberships and that could be like the new CrossFit exercise.
CrossFit. Okay, I'll take it. Yeah.
So you had that you're lugging it up and down stairs. What
Mhm.
did finally become of all of this, I guess, is where we're at.
Well, eventually I moved out of like a downtown and I went into like a neighborhood and I started to get like a basement access and I had sort of like, some secure storage.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get like your own space that's like right connected to the road, for me, I just kind of blew up and I started buying all the bikes that I could, so I got
Nice.
like two Hobbits, two more Pooks, a V1, a Yamaha DT, all these bikes that I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna fix these up now that I'm into it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Yeah.
was there a moped club in town at this point, or was there anything going on, or did you find like you're buying all these bikes, you're new to this, like I guess also like I'm kind of curious, how did you find the scene, or was there a scene?
Yeah, there was a scene. So the puddle cutters have been around since like what 2005 or something like that.
Okay.
And I actually found Uphill Battle first. That was
Ah,
a much smaller crew. And they I don't know, I guess I had seen like on Reddit or Facebook or something, there was a rally happening called, love is a four-letter word.
okay.
And so I had been struggling with my bike, trying to rebuild things, take things apart, putting it back together. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and join in this rally. And I had no idea how rallies worked or anything like that. But I did find myself on like the support chat,
Mm-hmm.
the group me. And on the one of the like dumbest parts on my side was like Saturday afternoon, it's really raining outside and I'm trying to go to like one of their parties and I break down and I start like frantically texting people asking for a chase vehicle, not realizing that like you don't get a chase like when we're not on a ride or
Mm.
doing something. It was just like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I was like, hey,
Yeah.
help me. um but yeah, Uphill Battle was the first exposure. I went to their rallies and I started hanging out at Angelo's on Southeast Hawthorne with them for quite a while. um Initially they thought I was a cop because I was this like short-haired, very quiet dude, who's like just drinking Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Because at that point, like I didn't have like a taste for the liquor or anything, and I wasn't very social. So I just sit there, kind of hang out, try and participate, and yeah, I think Kyle, our newest captain, had revealed that recently that
Yeah.
they thought I was a narc. Like what am I going to narc on them on? Like expired licenses or something?
Dude, that's awesome. And I can there's more than one person who I've heard like show up to like a scene and like everybody was convinced they were a cop.
Yeah,
Like just that's great.
he's too
Um
clean. Get him.
yes. He showers maybe twice a day.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great way to fuck with people at a rally. Just walk up to them, just look them dead in the eyes. Are you a cop? Like
Yeah.
people just freak out. That was something I was kind of messing with some people at that Black Pipes rally, which kind of I think maybe scarred one person, but whatever.
You just gotta go up to people and ask if they have a prescription for that.
That's another good one. I'll have to keep that in the
Mm-hmm.
arsenal.
Yeah. So I hung out with UB for a while, and then I started to learn about like the dynamics between them and their rival gang, Puddle Cutters. And I
Hmm.
started hanging out at Puddle Cutter events, doing the same thing, Dr. Pepper, sitting on the sidelines, occasionally, making small banter. They invite me to a couple of things, and it's sort of slowly moves my way in, and then eventually I'm prospected. I
Hmm.
think in like 2016 or something, 2015 maybe.
Right on, right on. You talk about like the um seeing the scenes, like the two different dynamics of the clubs. What was for me, and I talk about this a lot, but like my first group ride was just something magical. Like I don't know, like what was that like for you the first time you discovered a group ride or get on a group ride? How was that experience for you?
I imagine it was a lot of fun. I don't remember it. It was probably with Uphill Battle, but it was just riding with a ton of other people and thinking that I'm going to crash every single turn. It was really, really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and you talk about the rallies they had in town. How long did it take you to like branch out and go out of town? Because like I know you guys aren't far from Seattle, but like I have to remind myself of this. Like the West Coast is just it's a different vibe almost. Like it's
Yeah,
not it's just different. Like the way rallies happen, the way things are structured just because like you're in the Midwest, dude, you can go to a rally anytime you want pretty much in the summer. It's like 4 to 8 hours away from you. It's not a big deal.
super jealous. I actually went out pretty quickly to a Boston rally. I went to the
Mm.
Uglies. I think it was like Back to the Future Part 6 or 17, or I don't know. You lose count at this point.
Yeah.
Um, and I had just sort of tagged along with some of the Uphill Battle Boys, and they were really surprised that I went. We took some flights together. I hung out at the frat house, which was my first experience with that sort of scene.
Hmm.
Um, really, just kind of blowing my mind there, and that's where I met some really good people like Rigsby,
Yeah.
and we've fortunately kind of been friends ever since.
Yeah. Rigsby's such a nice guy when you get to chat with him. Like I always heard of Rigsby and I got to spend some time with him this summer. Super, super rad guy.
Such a genuine son of a bitch. I
Hmm.
love it about him.
Yeah.
He's just so nice all the time, but sometimes he can really cut to the heart of be like telling you how it is.
Yeah.
I appreciate that about him.
He's one of the people who I find very smart in mopeds and I can listen to him talk about it for a long time. And there's some people
Hmm.
who are quote unquote really smart mopeds, and I don't want to hear anything from them. But like Rigsby's somebody I have the utmost respect for, and I can just listen to him talk about his knowledge. Like I heard him
Hmm.
go about 45 minutes about brake pads, how to set those right this summer. It was like I learned. So yeah, thank you, Rigsby.
In terms of mechanics, he is one of those sort of sleeper cells. you know Within the last couple of years, I've just been kind of watching his Instagram account and his posts and stuff. He's now just starting to really turn that dial up to 11 or 12 with
Hmm.
all the cool things that he's now fabricating. It's
Hmm.
really exciting to see him flourishing.
Yeah, yeah. So with you and you're hanging around uphill battle, you kind of find a little more of a maybe you're fit in the puddle cutters. I kind of hear. What's your bike collection going like? Are you sticking to? You said earlier you're buying all these bikes, thinking you're gonna fix
Hmm.
them up. Did you find your niche of a brand? Because like some people will do that, like myself. I'm mostly Honda, and I'm kind of starting to branch out a little bit. But like, what was your go-to bike at this point?
It was Pook. I tried Honda, I tried Hobbit, but I couldn't figure out the regulators and the rectifiers.
Hmm.
I just I couldn't get the wiring right, and it made me so mad all the time. But I knew that Pook was like three wires,
Yeah.
and you're done. So yeah, I ultimately just stayed with maxis and magnums.
Yeah. Best thing you can do with a Honda, just like a French bike, rip out the OEM wiring and start over.
Hmm.
Just make it three wires. It's so much. Yeah. Um, so you're finding your niche there. What were some of the earlier things you really enjoyed doing in mopeds? Like, was it the rally scene, or was it because you kind of the feeling I'm getting you like partying really wasn't your thing per se, but was it wrenching or was it just right? Like, where were you kind of finding yourself in the scene?
I liked the wrenching. Um, at that time that I was starting, I again had no knowledge, and it was really fun to just soak up what everybody's saying. Half of it was wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
it was exciting to hear people's takes on how to fix these things and to see um, these new friends just like on the ground, all oiled up and just changing a gasket or doing their timing at a stoplight. Um, it was really fun to see like the mechanical side. The rallies were fun. Um, I don't think that I hadn't done very many before actually getting into the club.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was mostly just the wrenching that was the funnest part.
Right on. And how was prospecting for puddle cutters? Like you got in like 2016. Like, what was your process like? Because I know all clubs are a little different,
Yeah,
and all clubs can kind of evolve their processes through time.
I was prospected by the captain Maggie at the time, and um, Me and another guy, Will Childs, was being prospect as well at the same time. And I would say it was fun. It wasn't one of those ones where they haze you a ton. I get
Mm-hmm.
hazed like a tiny bit. I did some errands and things. They wouldn't let me show up to meetings unless it was like a rally season. But I got to participate and help out with some of the rally stuff. That was nice. And I eventually, had, you know, more genuine interactions with people. um, we have some pretty simple requirements in terms of being a member, and it's been like that since I started. Basically, it's like at least 3 months. You have to go to an out-of-state rally. You have to have a running moped, and at the time they had a rule where like you had to go hang out with every member of the club.
Mm-hmm.
And I had actually taken that pretty seriously, so I had like made plans to go hang out with every single one of them. And some of them was a pain in the ass to get a hold of, but the others, it was really easy. So like that was a kind of a cool part to have like a one-on-one with each person, moped themed. And we kind of got to do like a mini podcast with each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think I got cut in at the rally that I had to help coordinate.
Okay. And
Yeah,
what rally was that?
that was shit. Was that Nothing to Prove? Yeah, I think I got cut in at Nothing to Prove.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Will at the same time.
Right on. You talk about 2016. Right about this time. Now, had you participated in any of the pinballs before
No,
the? Okay, then we'll stay in this area. What were you doing? What were you doing in mopeds then? Like, were you just you get little cutters? Are you all in? Like mopeds is your jam, or you keep a balance in life? One of those weird people that like, oh, I can go play in a band and I can go like, play arts and crafts and then I do mopeds here. Or like, were you just all about the scene?
I was in for a short time. I was all in
Mm.
on it, and once I sort of had a great partner, once I got like a better job, once I got like a different vehicle, um, my interest kind of expanded a little bit, and I would still say that I'm in it, but I'm teetering closer to the weekend warrior status these days. Um, but yeah, I think like for a good 2 to 4 years, I was pretty into it.
Hmm. And I
Um,
realize it's like, especially somebody who's been around as long as you had, COVID changed how a lot of people approached the whole thing. Because, like, we weren't necessarily having a rally season. We weren't
mhm.
necessarily meeting up all the time or doing ride nights. I know a lot of clubs, even if it was like weren't meeting every week and riding, the ones that did all the time. I know they didn't have rides here for a long time in Minnesota. So I think that changed a lot of people. And I've seen some old heads around here come back even harder. So, I mean, it is what it is. Um, when did you talked about getting out to DC? Like, what out of state rally? I what out of state rallies did you do your prospecting year? Was that yeah? Is are you one of the clubs that has the out of state rally rule? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, my out of state rally was of MA20.
Okay.
Yeah, Moped Armor 20. I went out there with sort of like the puddle cutter vets
Hmm.
and got to spend the whole week there. So I think we all flew into um we flew into Chicago,
Okay.
spent the night like a couple blocks away from, no, sorry, not Chicago, I'm sorry, we flew into Detroit.
I
We
was gonna
spent
say
like the
that
night,
would make a little more sense, but
yeah, we spent the night near Detroit Moped Works, and
yeah.
then we drove over to Kalamazoo, and then after that I went back to Milwaukee to go hang out with the Cranks for a little bit before flying back home.
Right on.
um, that was a ton of fun. I don't think I've ever had that high and low of an experience at a rally before.
Yeah, yeah. How was your? I've heard very mixed reviews. Some people like once. everybody just kind of fucking chilled out. It was the greatest rally ever. Or some people were like, oh my god, it was a disaster. Like, dude, it sounds like you kind of had the same experience. You had the high highs and the low lows with everything there.
Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, that rally was fucked up. Um, it sucked in. It was a little bit of fun. I mean, I think that the fun part for me was just the experience. I don't
Hmm.
think the rally itself was very good. At one point, I think it was like the Saturday ride. There was just, I don't know, like an hour and a half long ride out to this flea market that once we got there, it closed in half an hour.
Oh
So
Jesus.
we got all the way there. There's no food. There's not shit to do except for buy, air jumps and fake Jordans and Dora the Explorer backpacks. I was riding a moped the whole time that had no cushion, so I ended up buying like a neck pillow and strapping that on as my seat.
Dude, at least they were thinking about you, Andrew. They got you to a flea market for a seat. So I
Yeah,
mean, they were
yeah. They're
thinking
like,
about
you're
you.
you're gonna fix this damn bike whether you want to or not. Um, so yeah, we went to that, and on our way back, somebody thought that it was a great idea to do like a little street racing event in an
Hmm.
industrial area. Have you heard about this part?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
How was your experience with that? Like Ryan doesn't. I've talked to Ryan about this. The kid who got hit, who
Uh-huh.
was flying. Like he thought he drove himself to the hospital. I'm like, and this has come. I told this to Graham Motzi,
Yep.
who was in the. He's like, dude, no, he didn't. We got him to
Mm-hmm.
the hospital. Like
Mm-hmm.
the cranks did. Like, and I've seen the video pop up, brother. I will
Yeah.
never watch that because you cannot unsee shit in life. I've
Yeah,
come
he
to
got
realize.
nailed. One of the dumbest things that club member could have done was try and cross the road as they're finishing at this race. Um, so yeah, that was really bad, and then the whole thing just kind of fell apart. It didn't seem like there were any Decepticons there at all, and
All their bikes broke.
all the bikes broke. Yeah,
Yeah,
um, and even Dave's. And
yeah,
so at one point, I was like, "Fuck it, I've got GPS, so I'm just gonna go back."
yeah.
And so I ended up leading like a ride of like 50 people, my first out of state rally, leading them back to 1977.
Yeah.
Um,
And Andrew, the little bit I know about you, my guy, like that is such your move. Just like calm, like, all right, let's go. Like kind
yeah,
of pulling the dad, like the responsible adult thing. Like, okay, let's figure
yeah. I
this
was
shit
like,
out.
cops are here. Let's go. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So that was the, I guess, the crappy part, but I mean,
Did Jesse
otherwise it was a fun
Stevenson make it
rally.
out there with you guys?
I No, I don't think
Yeah,
Jesse did.
yeah.
No,
I had
no.
lunch with him about a month or so ago in Kansas City. He's like, I forget which barbecue it was or something like that. He's like, I warned everybody, don't go out there. It's gonna be fucked. It's gonna be fucked. It's gonna be fucked.
It was yeah, it was an experience. But I again, like hanging out with the people for the first time, going out and having, a 3-on-1 hangout, not a
Hmm.
not a fuck fest with, the cutters was pretty cool, and just chilling at people's cribs. Like I'd never done the whole being put up experience when you
Yeah.
go to a rally. I take that back. I stayed at the frat house,
Hmm.
which technically I was being put up, but it was with like 30 other people. Um, but yeah, like going to other people's houses, seeing how they live in the moped scene, and seeing other clubhouses too. Like I'd never
Hmm.
seen a clubhouse, and to see cranks have an entire like warehouse, and they have a loft where they ride all their 30 bikes up to, and their Pook Magnum X trike that they had. That was a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, yeah. So you did the MA20 thing. It sounds like, you made a good time out of could have been a shitty time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know I'm trying to keep everything separate, but like at one point Travis of Travis Tutorial moved out to the Cutter out to Portland. Um and he had already done a pinball. Believe you were his partner on one of the pinballs, weren't you?
Yeah, 2018 we did the pinball um, east to west coast one.
So
He did the first year with some friends, and I did the second year from Texas to Redondo Beach.
okay. How was that experience for you? Like
That was
I
incredible,
yeah.
incredible. Um, Again, totally new experiences. I thought, yeah, let's go spend a week driving across the country and trying to win this race. At that point, I still had no idea what really how to fix mopeds were, how to fix mopeds, but
I'm
it
following you, my
was
guy.
it was a trip, you know. So it was hot as fuck. We're camping every day, basically. The bike breaks down and we don't understand it. Couple highlights from that trip. Uh, I think like 2 or 3 days before we shipped the bike to Texas, Jesse Stevenson was looking at the bike and he's like, "Hey man, your crank is bent."
Oh wow.
We're like, "Oh shit." So I think we have treats. Lifelight helicopter transport a crank over to Texas to the Shanks, and so we get there into town, and I think it's like 8 p.m. The
Hmm.
race starts at what, like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
and we rebuild the entire engine
Oh,
in the Shanks garage. So we're hammering away, listening to YMCA, and we do the whole rebuild within that night. Um, we sleep in some little girl's bed, and then we start the race.
nice, dude. That's pure panic before the start of the
Oh, it
race,
was
dude.
wild.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, that was the start of it, and then yeah, so many really great memories, like riding through the Hoover Dam to get
Mm.
into to Vegas. Hope I'm saying that right. um Chase racing, I think I was racing Sabat through like a an HOA to get to the Hooters hotel on time. That was a lot of fun. um I broke down in the middle of nowhere.
Hmm.
Almost had a panic attack. Basically, it was I think it was a little bit before Vegas. We were in like a deserty area. I think we had tried to save time by not going Google Maps and doing our
Mm.
own thing. We ended up choosing some fire roads, which actually ended up being just riverbed.
Hmm.
so so I did this riverbed, and Travis and Jenny Ray and Maitland are following behind. My phone basically dies. So at a certain point, like, I take Travis's phone. I get out of sight. I high side and just like break the radiator on his bike,
Oh.
and I'm like panicking because his
Mhm.
phone's locked. I don't have his fingerprint, and
Thank you,
um,
Travis.
yeah, we weren't smart enough to figure that out. So I'm there panicking a little bit, and then this I shit you not, a blind man in a van pulls up, um, and tries to help out right as Travis and Jenny Ray show up. We get the bike going, we race, we get to the finish line, or to the finish line for the day, and all was gravy. But that was probably one of the craziest moments that we'd had of that raid so far.
Hmm. That's what kind of stints were you doing riding, like mile wise? Were you doing like all day stints, half day? Were you guys breaking up? Because you guys had, I think that was the longest Baker's Dozen pinball run to date. Like,
Yeah, they were like consistently like 350 days.
oh, that's rough.
Um, I think that I think we split about halfway for as
Okay.
many of those as we could. And me not knowing any better, I tucked the entire time.
Bless you, son. Bless you.
I know. I tucked the entire time. I was able to get us up to 56 each mile, and that was real nice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we had this big fat like 5 gallon gas can that we would just sort of try and dunk into the bike halfway through.
Hmm.
um and then I think somewhere in like New Mexico, somebody left the tailgate down and the gas tank flew out, and we lost that. So
Mm.
we had to go back to 1 gallon tanks for a while.
Oh, that's a bummer. Um,
Yeah.
for me on Baker's, it felt like a moped boot camp for tuning and understanding. Did your mechanical knowledge of understand how to tune a bike change it after Baker's? Or because I felt, I'm gonna be an asshole and say it, like I had this whole like in my kind of mind, I had this whole like Patrick Swayze Point Break thing going on in my head, like it doesn't matter anymore. All I want to do is
Mm-hmm.
fucking run Baker's. Like that's all I give a shit about. Like, and I'll work all year just to do that for 2 weeks. Cause like, yeah, I fell in love with it, dude. Like I tell people, I've never been so proud to go 35 miles an hour in my life than I did at 9,000 feet.
If I had the opportunity and the time to do it again, I think I would be much more prepared for it. Um, the breakdowns that we had did not make me a better person, I guess. They were
Oh,
all
I'm
things that
not
at the
saying it made me
time,
a better person. It made me a
you
little
know,
better tuner and retrospect.
at the time I had no idea like what the issues were until we finished it. The first day we had to rebuild the engine again because there's some sort of like choke issue.
Hmm.
Um, we didn't fix it. I mean, we didn't identify the issue, but taking it apart, putting it back together, fixed it. Um, I don't remember where all those like satellite dishes are. There's like hundreds of them in the desert. Um, at that point, I think I learned what too rich was,
Hmm.
and I had to ride the choke basically for about 20 miles, going about 15.
Nice.
That was a good learning experience. I learned about elevation changes and how that can make a bike just kill itself.
Yep.
Um, I also learned how easy it is in LA to just run a red light. That was fun. Um, the last day, we were just like full send, full fuck it mode, just like you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look left, look right. I don't see a cop. All right, I'm gonna keep going.
That's how Portland was for everybody this year. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, we just want to fucking be done.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. I wish I there was some live cam footage of that because that would have been really great. Cops don't care here anymore. Um, do you remember how you got into the in spot?
I
Like what
could
route you took?
probably um I should look up my last day because I was all on Google Maps. Like I honestly don't know because I was riding without a clutch bell nut, so I
Uh-huh.
was rear brake dragging, keeping up the RPMs to keep the clutch engaged the whole time.
Yeah.
And turns out I was riding. I had my choke on too from when I vapor locked at the bottom of Mountain Hood. Yeah, that was rad. But yeah,
Yeah.
dude, like, and hit how's what was it like finishing Bakers for you? Like what was that moment in the um finish line? Was it like it was for me it was kind of weird because like I didn't understand we're not riding mopeds anymore. Like it's like you don't have to ride mopeds
You
anymore.
can stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finishing was really exciting. We've been going almost 2 weeks straight at that point, I think 12 days. And the ending spot was, I think it was Redondo Beach, the original sort of like pinball landing spot where you got to like buy a beer at this bar, this fancy
Hmm.
bar. I ended up getting there at about the same time that Chad Burke did.
Hmm.
And I had a fun experience where I'm like trying to figure out where do we park. And I ended up like blasting through one of those like signs,
Yeah.
those like stop um, train track things.
Okay.
Security guard tried to rip me off the bike. Um, Me and Chad kind of just dumped our bikes and ran into this bar. We've got our helmets on. And that was sort of like the tensest I've ever seen Chad Burke. No smiles or anything, where he's just trying to focus on getting served first, get this beer first. And uh then we just kind of sat in this fancy bar and looked like rejects because everybody else has a blazer, had a drink, and then kind of got kicked out.
I was gonna say, how
But
long did you last in there?
not very long at all. Yeah, it felt real uncomfortable. Um, but yeah, finishing was really nice. There wasn't like a party, right? There wasn't a club there or anything
Hmm.
at that point, but Yeah, it felt like we'd done something.
Nice, dude. Yeah, that's and Matt St. John said it best. Like, it doesn't matter what year you've done a Baker's or a pinball, you're in this weird society now that like everybody can relate. And like
Yeah.
that's yeah. I think that's where I think Rigsby actually said he goes, I can't believe you did what you did by yourself on the first year. He goes, I'm
Hmm.
impressed. And I was blown away when he said that. I'm like, dude, like everything they put up with, like I'm impressed his team. I mean, and that was a really rad thing about Bakers this year. Like there was so much admiration from each team to the next, which,
Hmm.
and that's why I want to do it again so much. And that's why my chase driver, Colby, wants to do it again next year. Um, so you did the Baker's Dozen, you had a blast. Where were this like 2018-ish, I think?
Yep.
Um, where were you at in your moped career at this point? Not that it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm prospecting for the cutters. We do nothing to prove. I get cut in, and I think Maggie goes to work at Yellowstone National Park,
Mhm.
and I don't remember exactly what it is, but I think it's like 2 months later I become the captain of the club.
Okay.
They just vote me in because she stepped down, and it's like between me and one other person. I'm like, fuck it, yeah, I'll do it. And I guess Puddle Cutters didn't think I was a cop, so they let me be the captain. And I think I did the cutter officership for 4 years. So 2018, I was a captain at that point, fully into it, and come back still fully into it. And I think we are gearing up for the national rally,
Yep.
basically after that. So coming off that, we're like, shit, yeah, we're gonna plan this huge party that hopefully is successful. Um, yeah, yeah, officer at that point.
Okay. Maggie, I remember we stayed in Yellowstone for a few days during Baker's.
Hmm.
I don't, I think she out on the East Coast now, being a park ranger?
Yeah, she's in Maine,
Yeah,
um,
Acadia National Park.
Acadia. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think like the Boston crew ran into her or something like that when they did their ride out there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. She's jumped around to a couple places. She went to Yellowstone. I think she worked at the Redwoods for a little bit. She
awesome.
worked at there's a huge lake in South Oregon. I'm forgetting what the name is. And yeah, now she's up in Acadia, just trying to work for that seniority
Yeah,
position. Um,
yeah,
it's
that's rad.
really exciting to see her in all those different places. She sends me and my partner postcards every once in a while. It's really nice to hear from her.
Yeah, yeah, that's super sweet. That's not to make this about me, but I'm going to for a second. That was one of the coolest moments of my life was going through Yellowstone. First drafting Chad Burke and Zach Richards. Like we're probably about 50, 60 miles where all three of us were just back and forth, back and forth, back and
Yeah,
forth, just drafting. And then we got stopped at the gate because there's a medical emergency. So that kind of bunched the whole crowd back up. And
yeah.
then Cowboy and I drafted through Yellowstone pretty much the whole time. That is just a moment I will always have. In
Now, did you get lucky enough to not get stuck in traffic in
uh
Yellowstone?
yes, because there was like I said, there's that they just had the flooding or forest fires or one of the two.
Yeah.
So like we had the odd even plate issue, and
Hmm.
then we all kind of got stopped at the front of the gate. So like
Okay.
there was a
Okay.
gap of traffic. So there was like and what we went through like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, so I don't think traffic is that bad. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm just going on like other part like amusement park experiences. Like it's not gonna be heavy in the middle of the week, if you
Yeah.
will. So I mean, there's a few stop and go spots we hit, but that was because of construction in
Yeah.
the park. But yeah, it was really easy going through it.
Yeah. I'm glad nobody got hit with a bison.
Yeah, it was close. Chad almost did. We did have Urban Decay, not Urban Decay, but See You Soon Rigsby's team.
Hmm.
Um, I forget her. One of them teammates went over the handlebars. There's Rory. There's I'm blanking on her name. I'm sorry. I will remember it some other time, and then I'll feel like a jerk. But yeah, that was Yellowstone was rad. Like I saw my first longhorn ram. Yeah,
Yep.
it was pretty cool. That's a if you've never been, go and try to ride a moped through there.
Yep. Do it. Don't waste your time with like the geysers or anything. Just go about there with everything else. Go look at
Yeah.
everything else.
I actually Chad and Patrick went and saw that stuff, the hot springs and all that.
Yeah.
I was too busy actually. I worked on a bike. I was like all like bitter about it. I'm like, fine, I'll do maintenance on my bike on the day off.
Hmm.
Fine. But it was a very awesome experience getting to hang out there. We got warned about having we got a bear ticket warning because we maybe ate and didn't put any of the food away.
Fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
yeah, but nobody got in major trouble. But sorry about that. So you guys, back to your story. Um, you got your captain. You guys decide to didn't decide, but you guys voted upon you're going to do rally. It becomes a national rally.
Hmm.
How was that for you as a stress point? Like, I'm sure that can be a lot of stress. Or did you kind of, or do you think you handled it well?
I think we handled it well. It was definitely tough. It was the first rally that I'd been able to be sort of the main contributor to. I was responsible for the Friday night ride and ended up being the backup for a Saturday afternoon ride that I had didn't know what the route was. Um, I blew up my Magnum at that one on that ride. That was a lot of fun. Um, the planning was good. We got quite a bit of sponsors. We had some new members that were excited to branch out and sort of network with people. We got to start the night at Legion Moto, which is like a motorcycle repair shop that's sort of community oriented.
Awesome.
And um, that was fun. And we had a friend who was very nice in offering up their like rooftop area for rental at the place that they were living,
Hmm.
and that set us up for Saturday night, which was really great. And we felt very humbled by all the donations that we got, and the raffle ended up being really long, I guess, because we had so many things to give away. Um,
That's awesome though. That's really rad. Like you guys had a good
yeah,
turnout for that.
it was great. I don't feel like I got to truly enjoy the rally.
No, because
Um,
it's not you. The host people never get to enjoy it, dude.
yeah, and I feel bad a little bit because there was some talk about having like a captain's meeting there on Saturday night, and I just got too busy and distracted and couldn't do it. So some of the officers are probably that's their one grievance about it, is that we didn't get to talk about nothing, I guess.
About the state of MA.
The state of MA, and when are we going to move to back to emailing each other as a more effective means of communication.
um, I've got nothing witty for you on that one. um,
No.
so you guys get to hold the national rally in that fall, and we'll talk about it. Like everybody's getting jazzed up and excited for the 2020 national rally for Chicago and blah blah blah. And then there's this weird Tampa Tango. A lot of people in the north were going stir crazy. We went to it, and turns out that was the only real rally of 2020. How was the pandemic for mopeds in Portland?
I think it was average, basically.
Hmm.
Most of us had a pretty good head, and sort of we came up to an agreement that you had to be vaccinated if you wanted to come out.
Hmm.
We're not going to police it too hard, but like if you'd like to come out, just show us your card.
Hmm.
Otherwise you don't have to. Um, we got called like a Nazi by a couple of people, but it was like people that weren't in the club.
Yeah.
And so, in the grand scheme of things, I think that everybody was pretty respectful, wearing masks when they needed to. We had outside hangouts, outside bars. We didn't have as many rides. I think that's fair. We didn't have as many hangouts at all. Um, but I think we all kept it together pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't kill us just yet.
Yeah.
I thought we would have been over way before this, and I thought that this would have been the death of us, but no, we somehow survived.
Well, that's awesome. And yeah, you guys, I mean, I know nothing about the dynamics of your club, so I'm talking out of turn here, but I could see how like a national rally could be a high point for a club, and then, you know, something like the events of the pandemic kind of pull everybody apart,
Yeah,
and everybody like, I'm okay now. Like, but it
yeah.
just shows you the love that everybody has for riding these dumb children's toys still. Everybody stayed together with it. It's not just a fad for them.
I think that COVID gave a lot of our members the opportunity to do other things,
Mm-hmm.
actually, gave them time to branch out, focus on their jobs, evaluate their relationships, evaluate, if this is the right apartment or house to be living in. Um, and a couple of us, not myself, got housing. Like they bought a house
Mm-hmm.
during the time, and they were able to sort of like Bob was able to move his ink knife business to a full-fledged home business. um, and Travis ended up focusing on his home and building everything that he could and sort of renovating this house from the 30s that had no business being renovated. And a couple other people just kind of dug into their stuff. Um, yeah, we're still doing it, and we're still excited. We're actually gearing up for another rally.
Mm-hmm.
Just Sunday, we came up with the rally name for it, and we're gonna start having meetings pretty soon and start planning all the fun shit.
So, are you allowed to say the rally name?
Yeah, I think Kyle was gonna update Moped Army, but it's I don't know if it's Puddle Cutters Presents to in the front of it or if it's just the title, but it's shit, what is it? You can't premix friendship. That's what we're calling it.
I dig it, dude.
Yeah.
I dig
We
it.
had we had a little bit of a battle on this. We had a bunch of different options. I'm not going to give away all the options that we had because they're probably going to be next year or the year after and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
keep them in the back pocket, man.
we had some box cars. No, Hot Wheels. Yeah, we had Hot Wheels and we had a track, and we raced them, and we
Okay.
did like a bracket to figure out like who would become the final competitor. There was a really strong push for uh, Mighty Morphin Puddle Cutters, which in retrospect, with the recent death, I think that it's really great that that didn't win.
Okay.
So really excited about that, but also really sad about the Green Ranger.
Yeah, dude, that's a
Um,
bummer.
yeah. Um,
Dude, and
so
I'll say this about the Power Rangers. I can
yeah.
remember watching the shit out of that show after elementary, but I couldn't tell you what the hell that show was about to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember really digging it, but I don't remember it.
Seven or was it five rowdy teenagers saving the planet, but only in like one city
Yeah. Well,
every time.
it happens.
Yeah, so we did these Hot Wheels tourneys, and we got down to it was either you can't you can't premix friendship, or it was going to be noodle negative time. And everybody wanted you can't premix friendship better, so here we go.
Yeah.
Now we're into it.
Awesome. Um, so you got that going. What was it? I want to rewind just a touch.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys found out you're gonna be the endpoint of Baker's Dozen, how did that all come about?
How did it come about?
Like, what
I
did you guys
think
do to plan? I'm thankful for the ride we had the next day. Like Grom Kyle took us out.
uh-huh. Let's see, I'm really digging into this. Kyle, I think, really kind of came through and coordinated a good amount of that for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think Maitland just kind of decided that this was where it was going to be. We're happy about it, excited about it, and we had another moped friend who had a large pasture in their backyard, and they offered that up. So we spent maybe 2 or 3 small hangouts just cleaning the shit out of their backyard, getting it
Mm-hmm.
ready. Um, I think a group, couple people like made the flag, the banner, but honestly, I think like Pete did most of the work, getting
Yeah.
porta potties, booking the local band, and I think Kyle like went to Costco or Safeway and just got a shitload of food for
Yeah.
us all.
Thank you,
Um,
Barney, for cooking.
yeah, and he seems to always cook.
Yeah.
Every time there's a grill, he's gravitating towards it.
He's got the cutoff shorts and he's rocking
Mm-hmm.
the bib and doing his thing, dude. I love
Yeah, talk
Barney.
about dad mode. He is dad mode next to a grill. You know, he no jokes. He's serious. He's always checking those burgers, whether they're ready to be flipped or not.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah,
Coals are hot. Coals are hot, everybody.
yeah. Love Barney. Um, but yeah, you guys did a great job hosting us. I still kind of wondered about the outdoor shower. I was wondering if anybody would actually. I
Was there one? I didn't
there was an
notice that.
outdoor shower. Like I
That's
asked,
stupid.
it was like a propane tank and a garden hose, and it looked sketchy as hell. And like,
Oh, yes, I saw that. That's right. Yeah.
yeah, I just all I want, and I think a lot of us were like, we just want to shower at this point. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I had to bug out for a couple hours. I got a hotel, showered, lay down, like came back to the party. It was fun.
That's good.
Yeah, you guys
That's
did a
good.
great job. We got to ride around Portland a bit, but like I blame Boston for this because they
Yeah.
wanted to go riding, and I was just like, fine, I'll go. But you guys got a beautiful city. I wish I'm not even gonna like say, oh, I'll try to make it out there. I'm no, I can't make it out there this year, dude. I wish I
I know
could.
it's rough. It's rough for everybody. It's so far. Plane
Well,
tickets are going to be so much and everything.
it's not even that so much. It's like right around Baker's time. Like Baker's is May 31st this year to like the 9th. And by the time that gets done and I kind of get sorted back into life, if you will, like
Yeah.
you got your guys' deal, and I planning to go to Land Squids. So I'll see you there maybe. I don't know. Um
Yeah, that's close enough. Yeah.
yeah. Um so you talk about you guys are gonna do a rally. You talked about the naming of it and all that stuff. You also said you're now owning your own business, and do you want to talk about that a little bit? How that all came about with your shop?
Yeah. Let's get into it. So I have my own shop now. It's not a like a, business front end space, but it's called Honest Moto. Anybody can go to honestmoto.com, and it just sort of redirects you to my Instagram page. So I had this issue, this grievance, and it's not against any mechanic in particular at all. But you know, over the years, you get better at mechanicking, and being the sort of helper that I am, I like going and helping other people fix their bikes. Um, I had a neighbor who had a motorcycle, was really struggling with it for several months, and I would often like just be talking to them. They're telling me what's wrong with it. They're telling me what their mechanic did, and I'm looking at it and thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. They did nothing, and they charged you $400 for it. Another prime example is I just bought a pickup truck, and the person I bought it from told me there was a huge oil leak. And they'd gone to the mechanic like 2 or 3 times, and every time they said they'd fixed it, but they didn't. So I finally went, and after a month, got them to warranty the work and fixed it, and it's all done. But it's just a big pain in the ass. And so I feel like if you're going to run a business, doing mechanic work, you can be truthful about it. You
Mm-hmm.
can tell people what's wrong with their bike. You can tell them that this is out of your expertise, that you don't know how to fix it, that it's not worth it to fix it based on the price or the cost of work to the value of the actual vehicle. You can be upfront, and you can also teach people how to fix their own vehicles if it's something that they can do it. So I started the shop, and it's just out of my home garage. And so far, it's just been a lot of Honda Elites. Weirdly, it's been a lot of Elites. but it's open to mopeds, scooters, motorcycles less than 500 cc's. And the basic rundown is like you're going to get an upfront cost to how much it's going to be. You're going to get like you pay me a deposit, depending on if I have to come to you or you can bring it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do an inspection. I'll tell you everything that I can find that's wrong with it. I'll tell you exactly the things that I can fix and give you a quote up front about how much that's going to cost. You can take it or leave it. You can compare it to other shops, whatever you'd like to do. But here's the information, and do with it what you want. At this same time that I'm starting this venture, we have in the south side of town, we have Scooter Swap Shop, who decided to close their doors to public service. And they're no longer working on any bike that they haven't built themselves. So that really opens up for the entire like Honda, Yamaha, all the scooters that are out there to be worked on, because the South area can't do it.
Yeah.
Now there's like Columbia scooters, but they only work on their bikes as well, like Vespas and the trike motorcycle. And also at the same time, Eric Sabatino's vintage scooter shop is starting to change up their lineup of services too. They're starting to service less mopeds, less scooters randomly, and push more into the contracts that they've already gotten and the brand new ones that they've gotten, like Royal Enfield motorcycle sales.
And they recently got a new shop, didn't they?
They did. They got right across the street. I'm really excited for them. They got a huge lot, just like a block away from where they are now, and they're able to put their entire inventory in there. They don't have to pull all their bikes out onto the street every single day to make room for sales and mechanic work. Their mechanics are going to get like their own dedicated space. You're not going to have these randos coming in here and being like, let me talk to the mechanic or let me talk to a man anymore, because it's just going to be kind of really separated. So I'm really excited for them. And plus they got the Royal Enfield contract, which is desperately needed in a city where Harley was the contractor before, and they didn't even know how to fix these bikes. So I created this business. I got some logos drawn up by a really nice friend, and I've started doing honest moto work. And so far it's been really good. Except that just like a month ago, I bought a truck. And so I've just been distracted with doing that first.
No, dude, that's awesome. And that's really brave of you. And I have all the admiration for anybody who steps out and tries to do their own thing when it comes to their livelihood. And I knew that was some of the stuff we kind of chit-chatted about before this whole deal. So like, yeah, dude, I want to make sure we got that out there.
I think you and I talked before I fully like dove into it, actually.
A little bit. You kind of hinted around your plan on something like, and we'll talk about the time we got to hang out a little bit in Santa Fe, but then we got to hang out a lot more. And you want to talk about going like the Cutters as a group going to Santa Fe and Cutters going to Mosquito Fleet? The two rallies I've kind of met yet.
So it's a lot smaller group. We went to Santa Fe to that really fun, small, compact but eventful rally. I'm losing my head right now about what club that is.
Goatheads.
The Goatheads. Yeah, we went to the Goatheads rally, and gosh, they were so nice and generous and helpful, and just excited to see other people. So I think like a handful of like 7 of us went out there. It hadn't been that many people even at MA20. So we had a lot of the girls that typically don't go to out-of-state rallies. They came, and we had a couple of prospects too, and we had a couple of the old heads go too, and that was a really, really great time. Todd ended up doing a whole ton of tattoos for us all that are the the mix of goat heads and puddle cutters. That was a really cool event, actually. You fared pretty well on that, I think, too.
I was trying not to be as crabby as I was, but like I drove home and quit my job that Monday. because I was in a job that I hated and I was very fucking miserable and I knew I was better than that. But no, dude, that was so beautiful, that countryside, like all over Santa Fe. Santa Fe, that's where I got to meet James Porter. He was
Hmm.
the guy on the motorcycle in southern New Mexico. Um had the brown hat on. He did Bakers this year. James is an awesome, smart guy.
Yeah, I think I remember him.
Yeah. And I learned something else about my bike there. I had been running a Polini 17.5 with there's an air stop in those, and I didn't have the closed blank in there. So I was running lean there the whole time.
The entire
And
time. Okay.
yeah, lean in elevation doesn't generally doesn't go that well when it so uh
Yeah. I was really surprised by the weather changes there, right? It like
yeah
almost like flash flooded while
yeah
we were during the ride.
yeah dude, that was rad. Like I go to the desert and it rains. The first time I'd ever been to the Southwest ever. Like
Yeah. And then we had like a ton of like we went through those alleys and just like adobe housing and like really rich neighborhoods all of a sudden.
yeah, it's such a unique town. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of talking to a few people, like that's the way I don't want to overstep, but like that's the way a lot of cities in New Mexico are. They're all in like these canyon valley things. And
Uh-huh.
so, and I also learned that there's a New Mexico Las Vegas. Never knew that.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was interesting. But no, I love Sophia and all those Goathead people. They're such nice people. And then you got to meet all the syndicate kids that came down from Denver. Um,
Yeah, I think that Barney ended up spending the most time talking to them. I
mhm.
didn't really get to interact with them as much as I probably should have, I guess.
It was kind of
But
funny
everybody
because
was pretty great.
yeah, Nick, who love that guy, he's young in his early 20s, I think, mid 20s. Anyways, him and I actually were housemates in Seattle at Maddie Watts's house for the Cutters. So like
Oh yeah, okay.
that was kind of cool, and that was the first time I ended up flying out to Seattle this year. You guys came up. Um, that was the
Yeah, I
first time
heard
I
you
was
were up
actually
there.
yeah. You were um that was the first time I actually ever got hosted at a house because usually it's like can't I've been to like a lot of camping rallies or like done hotels with people, but like that was the first time like and I can cross boundaries and lines with people sometimes, but like somebody's house is their sanctuary. So like
Yeah.
I don't go into people's houses unavoided. Like Maddie told me like 5 times Friday night, you need to go to my house because you're welcome there and you don't need me to be okay, dude. That's fine. That's fine. And like Maitland Kelly's like, yeah, dude, you're on the West Coast. His house is yours now.
Yeah. Yeah, what he sounds like the turtle from Finding Nemo,
Yeah.
like that.
But what did you guys like? How was Seattle for you guys as a club coming up, doing all that?
Seattle was really fun. I wasn't able to stay as long as I wanted to because I had come up with my fiance at the time, and we actually stayed at my at her grandma's house. So we got
Okay.
our nice little secluded spot away from everything. And she got to go to like a rally for an out of state rally for the first time. So I think her prospect duties are almost up, even though she's not a member. So Seattle, typical fashion, they go really hard.
Hmm.
And they've been doing this for as long as the Cutters have, if not longer. And they hold it down every single Monday. And that was, it's a really great rally. It's a good standard. It's a good bar to set.
Hmm.
Everybody's coming up to the corner of the country, and uh, you get you get this bar that's owned by one of the sort of club members, and all your drinks that night are free.
Hmm.
Second night, all your drinks are free. Um, you come out, you get fed in the morning, breakfast, and you get rides. Um, You get free t-shirts, and you just have a good time. There's no stress.
Yep.
So one of the things that I really liked about that was that part where it's just like providing for the community and not having any expectation of anything in return.
Yep.
When we did the national, I was under this impression that you charge for a rally shirt, for a bag, and people pay for their drinks. You'll have a tab to a certain
Mm-hmm.
point, but that's one of the things that we're looking to try and model and get back on the road with, of just trying to just fund this whole thing and make it easier for people to come to an event, because these days flights are at minimum like 350 no matter
Yep.
where you go. So it's like you're spending $600 to get to us, and we're going to make you buy your own hot dog. That kind of sucks, you know.
Yeah.
Our prospect was very excited about the Saturday night party. Um, a little bit backing up before the event, our prospect Barney, who
Yep.
his Magnum exploded on him, and he needed to rebuild it. He was freaking the fuck out, and so I took some time, 3 days out of my week, and I helped him rebuild the entire thing before the rally. So he got a bike, he got to ride the entire way through the rally and enjoy it up, and I got to, you know, look in the window of a quinceanera at the YMCA with him.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I rode my maxi that I had built up from the ground up, and it had like a 70, it had an Athena kit on it, and the whole time I'd learned that just the pipe had cracked and broke. Halfway through the Saturday ride, right, I broke down, and then like 2 miles later, you broke down, and if I remember right, I just kind of chugged it as best I could with the pipe hanging over to the YMCA. We hung out for what, like 2 hours at that place, just
Yeah.
waiting for a chase that didn't show up.
That was I still kind of wonder what the heck was going on with the chase on that, because there wasn't
Mm-hmm.
that many people broke down. It was like they're zigzagging back, like just going
Yep.
order operations, like.
Yep.
And but no, it was I'm glad, because we had great bonding. That was the longest 15 miles of my life.
Yeah, no negatives on it.
No.
We decided what was like we're gonna go the 15 miles. It's gonna take us 2 hours to get that time, but we're gonna show up at this bar where everybody's at.
Yeah.
And we get there, everybody's gone.
Yeah.
Or no, they're just leaving.
They were gone, but you forget the hill.
Yeah. Okay, I forget the hill.
The hill we got to walk up, and I
Yeah,
was
we got to
smoking
walk
that
up
hot.
part of the mountain. Yeah.
Yeah, that was rad.
And I think we burned half of both clutches on that.
Yep. That was fun.
In retrospect, we could have spent that 2.5 hours just going back to Seattle. So
But
there
we
was
got
that.
to explore.
Yeah.
We got that going for us.
Yeah.
Got to see parts of Seattle we never would have saw otherwise, or maybe we would have. But we're gonna lie and tell ourselves that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Seattle
Barbecue
was
was
great.
good.
Barbecue was great. We should have gone. We should have gone to the little fair first. There was like a Chinese American pride event
Mhm.
happening, or like a awareness thing happening, and there was like corn on the grill and some really
Yeah.
nice food there.
Yeah, dude, it was rad as hell. You forgot that I also dumped my bike on our little adventure, because they had
Oh
these
yeah,
like
that's right.
curb divider things, and like, yeah, I was probably sun baked and dehydrated a little bit and didn't make the
Well,
right
they
call.
weren't
So
perfect. Some of
no,
those blockers were not straight, and they were on the sidewalk, so it's very understandable that you gave it the beans
yeah,
accidentally. You
but
know.
that did come out for good video footage later in the night. When we had that dance party broke out at Magic Dutch, and also I'm working on a Hobbit, and I'm like, okay, this seems about right.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, I saw that.
yeah,
That was pretty fun.
yep,
Somebody working the lights, doing some
yeah,
seizure-inducing work right there while you're grinding away.
yeah. That
Hmm.
would have been Sean, who works at Treats. So,
Yeah.
Mahoi.
What encouraged you to take the shirt off? Was it just so
It
hot?
got hot, dude. It got fucking hot, and like,
Hmm.
I am not. um muscular or well toned, and I don't care because I'm 40 and like I don't care. No, it just got hot, dude. Like,
Yeah.
and then I just kind of rocked the shirtless the rest of the night because it was a beautiful night.
Yeah, that's fine. You do
Yeah,
what you got to do.
I was the fire that was getting thrown on me. Kind of, a shirt would have helped. Like I
Yeah.
got fire kissed. I wasn't like on fire. I was fire kissed.
Mm-hmm. Just a little mwah. Yeah.
Just yeah. You guys, like I said, you had to take off early. And I'm kind of bummed out because like I didn't get to chit chat with your partner that much that weekend. Like super nice person, super rad. Like we had sat at breakfast after Baker's with her a bit. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you got
Yeah,
she
what a
you
babe
two are
that I
you two are
have.
rad together. That's yeah.
Thank you. I think that she's the one that keeps the whole thing together. I'm just the asshole that can, put a screw in a wall. Um, but yeah, she's great. We're tying the knot next year in September.
Awesome, dude.
Um,
Congratulations.
thank you. We're gearing up for that. Um, we just recently moved into a house. Like we didn't buy it. We were gonna buy it, but then, the Fed decided that, 6% interest rate was a really great starting point for a new homeowner.
Yeah, that's
So we had to back out of that a little bit. But we ended up renting this really big, like 3-bedroom house for a really good price. And so um in one sense it's going to be perfect for rally season because
mhm.
like we can just have people stacked on top of each other in the basement and we can
Heck yeah.
house the whole party. But yeah, we got a place and we've got spare rooms now. I've got like a dedicated garage really to just turn into a real greasy piece of shit these days. It's gonna be great. um and we got our kitty cat.
Nice.
um
Cats are
and
always
she
welcomed on the podcast.
and he's sleeping on a heat pad. We think
Nice.
that he got into some trash
Ah.
recently and got a case of the shits quite a bit.
That's always fun when animals are sick because they can't really tell you. They just kind of mope around a little bit, and you're like, "What's
Right.
going on, bud?"
Yep. Yep.
But no, dude, that's a
Hmm.
bummer about the cat. So after Seattle, you started your business. Like, what's mopeding been like for you in this fall to winter time? Are you still getting out and riding, or like what's that? I saw your club's deal on Instagram, which looked your Cutter Thanksgiving, or what do you guys call it?
Cutter's giving. Yeah, we did that on Sunday.
Yeah.
That was nice. For me, I have really stepped back intentionally. I was the captain for more than 4 years and was like the point person in all of the drama and the issues, and also like the person that just had to keep the club alive. You had to read all the chats, and at a certain point, my partner was getting really mad because like all I would do was just moped talk and
Hmm.
notification mopeds. So I stepped down and I became secretary several months ago. And I've kind of intentionally stepped back so that I could just let other people step into the leadership roles, let other people sort of experience the club on their own terms, and not really try and drive it in the way that I would want the club to be. It's been really nice to not have to show up to every weekly ride
Hmm.
and just sort of be a resource and an ear for people. I fully intend on coming back when it gets a little bit warmer and I get this dumb truck fixed and all the other things that's going on in life. But I haven't. I can happily say that I haven't done really any rides recently. It's been nice, but still there, still doing it.
Right on. What's your
Mhm.
go-to bike right now, though? Is it
It's
the Maxi from Seattle, or do you got something
Yeah, it's
else?
still the maxi. It's still the maxi. I've got some motorcycles that I pretty much ride when I'm at home
Hmm.
because I've gotten to the point where I'm tired of going like a half hour away from my house and then the intake gasket pops off.
Yeah.
Um, there's not enough street lights to cut those. I got
Mm.
really good at it, but it's just annoying to do it. So like I just ride my motorcycle on the weekly events. We'll do, mopeds when it's actually game time, like an event. Um, we had we had a Halloween party over at Kristen's recently. That was a
Awesome.
lot of fun. We did karaoke. I think that was probably the latest night I've ever spent out with the club. Really making myself feel old, but like I left at like 3:30 or something.
Dude, that's
Um,
yeah, you made it longer than I could have. Like it doesn't matter where I'm at, dude. Midnight I'm tapped. I'm like, okay, Grandpa Jim's got to go to bed now.
yeah, I get it. Yeah, especially if you have like a quiet place to come back to,
Mhm.
or you're not like hammering down the mushrooms um, really late at night.
Yeah, yeah. There's yeah. um yeah, dude, it sounds like you got a good you're kind of trying to find that balance with everything in mopeds. I think that's something I can struggle with at points like cuz like this end of the summer, dude, I didn't do shit. Like I
Yeah.
barely rode like and now it's just a little baker's burnout, little, life changes and whatnot, but like the last month and a half, the last like all I wanted to do was ride in October, and
Hmm.
Black Pipes kind of rejuvenated my love again. Like, and that's what I love about mopeds. You can totally refall in love with with everything about it with this certain ride, and that happened to me.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that happens. You just have a nice ride with people, or you go through some alleyway, or some random person points their gun at you as you're driving by, and you're just like, shit, yeah, this is mopeds. You know, um, I remember one night my exhaust pipe just fucking broke off, and I had to borrow somebody's belt. I just strapped it to the bike in my seat. It was a great night. you
Yeah,
know People flip off their bikes. Great night.
yeah.
Had one of the oldest members come out. They hadn't done it in years. They flipped over their head going up a mall parking structure.
Hmm.
Mopeds. It's a great night.
Yeah, no bad time in mopeds. I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
But
Um,
yeah, to that sort of idea that you're mentioning there, it is interesting to see how feelings change over seasons, over years. I've been sort of slowly reflecting on my sort of feelings about mopeds and feelings about the scene. In the beginning, I was just sucking everything up. When I became the captain, I was of this mode where, like, yeah, it's mopeds all the time. And, why aren't people showing up every single week? And then,
mhm,
as I'm getting older, getting slower and tireder and stepping back in my role, I'm now being like, okay, I understand the aunts and uncles, why they only come out seasonally. It makes
mhm,
total sense. Got other shit going on in your life, and that's totally okay. At the end of the day, it's sort of the scene is to some respect a family that you can choose to stay in. You can go away and come back, and you're still family.
mhm.
So that's one of the things I really appreciate about the scene, and more specifically that group of friends that we've cultivated over the Baker's Dozen race.
Yeah, yeah, dude. He said it about right, dude. Like I can't try to articulate it any better than what you just said. Like I still the shit still gets me though. I'll say that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I got my shop all kind of squared away the way I wanted. I was looking at my bikes and I probably sat in my shop for like 20 minutes just looking at shit, just smiling. And I just fucking love I want to go ride on Saturday. It's gonna be 50 degrees. Like I the last ride I really did this fall was with
Mm-hmm.
Steve from the Castle Rollers, and like it was just so much fun, dude. Like I just
Lucky you, 50 degrees.
heck yeah, dude. But it's a Minnesota weatherman. You can only take that with like a 20% chance it might actually happen. So,
Uh-huh.
um,
That's fair. That's fair.
yeah. But no,
Yeah, I
dude, you
feel
gotta,
you. I will spend hours standing out in the garage too, just staring at all my shit.
yeah.
Really, no reason. Just the
No.
the fact that it's mopeds, and it's the feeling that you get
Mm-hmm.
just being out there.
Mm-hmm. And I've talked to more than one person that like I always talk about that ride, like touching the sky where everything's right. It can
Hmm.
actually happen in your shop too. Like just like I'm happy. That's my
Yeah.
happy place. Um No, dude, I'm bummed out I can't make it to your rally. Uh I hope to see you possibly at um the Land Squids, or maybe even get some of you guys out to a Midwest rally. I'm not sure what's going on anywhere. I know I'll be going to Zeros when they have
Mm-hmm.
theirs. Chad Burke's Build and Gather. I can't thank everybody enough for listening to Second Chance Moped Podcast. Don't forget to like, listen, subscribe, give us a 5-star wherever you listen to it. And I've been getting a lot of traffic in the email, so if you want to email me questions, want to be a guest, whatever, secondchancepod@gmail, and our Second Chance Moped, Second Chance Pod at Instagram. You'll figure it out. I'm all over. Andrew, do you want to shout out your handles where people can go for your business?
Yeah, I want to shout out two things. So you
Okay.
can find me at Honest Moto on Instagram, Honest Moto website, all that junk. My personal account's Music Horde if you want to see my cat, or the engagement photos. I also want to shout out Jesse Stevenson's website, Serious Blasters.
Yes.
We didn't even talk about that. It's a great website.
Oh, let's talk about it for a bit, dude. I'm not. I sometimes I get a feeling when things are kind of wrapping up, but we can open this shit back up, dude. We got 20 more hours. No, I'm joking. But like, Jesse is another one I can sit there and just kind of listen. Like he's kind of got a Rigsby-ism to him. Like, you got to have breakfast with him in Kansas City. At
Yep.
this, we tried going to one place, it was closed. Went to another place. Yeah, Jesse's a real nice and genuine individual.
Such a sweet man when you really get down to the one-on-one. Like in a group setting, he can be just as snappy and punchy as everybody else, and
Yep.
he can say some shit that really cuts you, because like he's got the moped knowledge to really just be like, uh yeah, your engine is it's overboard too
Garbage.
much. You
Yeah.
got an air leak right there, or you know you have your pipe on backwards,
Yeah.
keep talking shit,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a
That's one thing I fell
sick
in
ass
love with
dude.
Jesse right away. Like he'll he'll he's punchy. And I
Yeah,
like that. I like people like that. Like cuz I can be like that as well. Like I'm like, and especially like you said, he's got the knowledge to back it up as well.
yeah. When you get on those one-on-one levels and you get into a topic that he's really interested in, yeah, he'll go into it for a long ass time, as much as you're willing to handle it, but it's all
Mhm.
like very informative and cuts to the core of like what you need to know. He had taught this, like tried to teach this mopeds 101 class, um, and had created this like little manual for people to learn how to get started on mopeds and like what tools you need, and what the idiosyncrasies are with each different moped brand, and like how to fix these common little things. um I took after that a little bit, and I think like 2 years ago, no, probably a year ago, I actually did a venture where I wanted to learn how to tune a PHBG for once and for all. And it took me like 6 months, trial and error and all that stuff. And at the end of it, I made like this like 17-page manual on how to tune your PHBG,
Mhm.
and ended up teaching a class on it over at Sabatino's Vintage Shop, teaching a couple people how to tune their bike and learn about all the components of it. And I owe most of that like starter knowledge to Jesse, because he's
Mhm.
just like, all right, put this jet in there, put this slide in there, put this needle in there. Let's go take it down the street.
Mhm.
Takes it back. All right, let's change it. And he really takes the time out to help people that he feels like are worthy of his time.
Mhm.
And so, big shout out to his website, Serious Blasters. Let me see if do I have the exact website? It's srsblastersonly.com.
Okay.
If you want to latch on and see that PHBG guide, it's on his site, along with a shitload of other really good blog items that he's been working on.
Mhm. That's and again, Jesse is still helping out new people and giving back. I can say he's doing that at the Hickory Moto down in Kansas City right now, helping out some young kids down there, which is awesome to see. Yeah, like I said, Jesse's super nice, super rad guy, real punchy, and I like that. Like I like
Mm-hmm.
punchy people. So
I
Yeah.
think for him, it's always been a challenge, like being up in the Northwest and not having the access to all the mediums, the people, and the materials.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, over the next years, I'm kind of hopeful that some serious blaster shit's gonna pop out. With him being in the mecca of everything,
Yeah.
having all the access to his friends and his networking connections, and the machining skills that he already has to produce those intakes that he's got,
Mm-hmm.
and all the other cool shit that he's been machine shopping.
I want him to start producing those boxes for the HBI.
Yeah,
Because dude, everybody breaks those ears off them.
absolutely. Yeah, it's a game
Like
changer.
yeah, dude. And I when we had breakfast, and for me in mopeds, I know there's no money in it. So I
Hmm.
honestly, people, I never expect anything free. So like when I'm talking about a product, I'm like, do you have any? Like I go, Jesse, I'm not asking for free. Like I'll buy them from you. Like
Hmm.
so no, dude, those are super clutch, super awesome. He didn't have any available at that point. He's gonna change stuff. I might be misquoting, but yeah, he's some of that stuff and like his ZA pucks he came out with, I guess, are really great. And yeah,
I haven't had a chance to try them. I need to actually. That's a good reminder. I need to ask him about those. Um, yeah, you would have thought that those people that made the HPI coil would have put like a little bit of a metal tang in there on
no,
that, but it didn't. Jesse came out with a little slip and grip sleeve for it, and now it's never gonna come off.
yeah, dude, that's really rad. And yeah, I can't wait to get down to Kansas City a few times this year to go ride with him and Marie's, my friends down there. Like
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City, if you ever get the opportunity, people, Kansas City is so much fun to ride. It's weird because it's not like a Seattle where you're like, it's weird. It's awesome. It's still one of my favorite cities to ride in, other than like Minneapolis, St. Paul. Seattle's rad. Don't get me wrong, but like, I can't pump it up enough. Like, I I can't talk about stuff that I'd be out of hand. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, dude. Like, yeah. Thanks for bringing up Jesse's stuff. He's again willing to give back, willing to teach. Really rad guy. And want to shout out your websites one more time for everybody.
That was honestmoto.com.
All right, thank you. And everybody knows all my junk by now. So Andrew, I can't thank you enough for coming on Second Chance Moped Podcast. And don't forget, my guy, mopeds are dumb.
Take care, man.
See ya. Bye.